Now coming to calcium channel blockers toxicity. So calcium channel blockers are used widely for the treatment of hypertension, angina, for ventricular rate control and SVT like AF, and less commonly used in migraine prophylaxis and treatment of esophageal spasm, pulmonary hypertension, and arterial vasospasm due to Raynaud's disease. So basically used for decreasing the arteriolar contraction, decreasing the cardiac contraction and the rate. So vessel migraine में भी यूज़ होता है prophylaxis में, beta blockers as well as CCB. Understanding the physiology of calcium in the cardiovascular system is needed because calcium influx is regulated by the L-type calcium channels. Calcium influx is regulated by L-type calcium channels found predominantly in the heart, vascular smooth muscles and the pancreatic beta islet cells. Intracellular calcium facilitates the SA node firing and propagation of the electrical signal through the AV node. Myocytes also rely on the L-type calcium channel to allow intracellular calcium influx during the plateau phase, phase 2, in which the calcium influx occurs, which signals the release of stored calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum to come out, allowing myocardial contraction. L-type calcium channel are found on the pancreatic beta cell, and calcium influx is necessary for the release of insulin. Beta CCBs have multiple effects by blocking the entry of calcium required for normal pacemaker activity, AV nodal conduction, myocardial conduction and insulin release. At therapeutic concentration, CCB bind to the alpha-1 subunit of the L-type calcium channel, causing the channel to favor the closed state and reducing the calcium entry. At very high dose, some CCB like verapamil completely occupy the channel and completely block the entry. The results of calcium channel blocker are smooth muscle relaxation, reduced cardiac contraction, reduced EF, reduced heart rate and intracardiac conduction delays also, like blocks, etc. These effects produce hypotension and bradycardia. Verapamil overdose also impairs myocardial sugar intake, क्योंकि इंसुलिन रिलीज नहीं होने देता है, साथ में शुगर भी हार्ट में नहीं जाने दे रहा, which contributes to furthermore reduced cardiac contraction. All calcium channel blockers undergo hepatic metabolism through CYP3A4. CCBs relax vascular smooth muscle, reduce pacemaker activity and cardiac contractility. These effects occur at different dose range for each drug. All three calcium channel blocker classes increase coronary blood flow in a dose dependent function. So they are helpful in MI, provided there is no reduced ejection fraction. Do not use calcium channel blocker and reduce ejection fraction, otherwise it's going to produce heart failure or DCMP. They increase the coronary blood flow because they are increasing the duration of diastole. Each group initiates a different region of the calcium channel and has different affinities for calcium channel in various tissues. Verapamil is the most potent negative ionotrope of the all CCBs. It causes least as much depression of heart conduction as it does for vascular smooth muscle dilation. The combined cardiovascular effect may be one reason that verapamil overdose causes more deaths than all other CCBs combined. DHPR bind more selectively to the vascular smooth muscles. Dipines bind more selectively compared to heart. Then cardiac calcium channel. So they bind more selectively to vascular smooth muscle calcium channel than the cardiac calcium channel, and they relax smooth muscle at the vessels more, producing almost no negative ionotropy. So dipines don't reduce the EF, they just cause the vascular smooth muscle relaxation. That's why we use it as an antihypertensive. Verapamil and diltiazem are used to manage hypertension, achieve rate control in atrial flutter and fibrillation, and abolish SVTs. Hypertension, achieve rate control in flutter and fibrillation, and abolish SVTs. Dihydropyridine are typically used to treat diseases like increased peripheral vascular tone such as hypertension, transmetal angina, and vasospasm after SAH like nimodipine. So used in hypertension, transmetal angina, and SAH. The original 3 CCBs are verapamil, nifedipine, and diltiazem. All have relatively short serum half-life. Consequently, extended release formulation, extended release ER doesn't mean emergency room, it's just extended release. Formulations have been developed for all 3 classes because ER formulation prolong the drug absorption, so the onset of effect is delayed and toxicity is also prolonged. These are the class of oral calcium channel blockers. They are divided into non-DHPR and DHPR. Your non-DHPR or verapamil and diltiazem. And DHPR are nifedipine, amlodipine, nicardipine, felodipine, nisodipine, सारे डिपीन सारे जितने भी हैं DHPR. Non-DHPR में your phenyl alkyl amine is verapamil and benzothiazepine is diltiazem. You can remember it that in alphabet D is closer to B and V is closer to P. Half-life of both is about 3 to 5 hours and more potent is your verapamil. Dipines have a very variable half-life. Most newer calcium channel blocker are dipines. Your nifedipine has very less half-life, 2 hours only. Amlodipine is 30 to 50 hours. That's a very big amount. 30 to 50 hours. This is the maximum half-life. Calcium channel blocker is your amlodipine. Then nicardipine 8 to 14 hours, felodipine 8 hours, something like close to 10 hours for everyone. Nifedipine is very short acting, 2 hours, and amlodipine is 30 to 50 hours half-life. It takes about a week to completely get cleared up. That's how much it is. Nimodipine early is 1 to 2 hours and extended release is 360 hours. Sorry. This was the maximum dose 360 mg. What is the maximum dose of verapamil? 480. Diltiazem also 480. Nifedipine 180. Amlodipine 10 mg is the maximum dose. Remember, amlo mein 10 mg is the maximum dose. Nicardipine 120 mg. Felodipine 10. Nimodipine में 360 mg is the maximum dose and nisoldipine में 34 mg is the maximum dose. Point to remember, amlodipine very long half-life, 30 to 50 hours, and the maximum adult dose, daily dose in 24 hours is only 10 mg. amlodipine का ये रहा, amlodipine half-life is 30 to 50 hours and daily dose in 24 hours is maximum adult daily dose in mg is 10 mg. What are the clinical features? Most potent and life-threatening features are your extension of the therapeutic effect on the cardiovascular system, like reduced ejection fraction and peripheral vasodilation, causing hypotension and bradycardia. Patients with moderate verapamil or diltiazem poisoning have sinus bradycardia, varying degrees of AV block, hypotension, more often with verapamil than diltiazem or nifedipine. Mild to moderate DHPR overdose causes peripheral vasodilation, hypotension and reflux tachycardia. if you give dipines, because dipines don't work on heart na. Like all calcium channel blockers, dipines lose their selectivity in large overdoses and may present with sinus brady or normal rate in severe toxicity. All CCBs cause complete heart block, depress myocardial contractility, vasodilation, ultimately result in cardiovascular collapse. Pulmonary and CNS effects are secondary to reduce perfusion. Cardiogenic pulmonary edema is observed in severe overdoses, especially if you gave large volume of fluid to maintain the BP. ARDS has also been reported. Seizure, delirium, stroke, coma have been described and are presumed to be secondary to cerebral hypoperfusion. Alteration in consciousness in the absence of hypotension should not be attributed to CCB toxicity. Evaluate other cause in such cases. Nausea and vomiting are common. Life-threatening GI complication are bowel necrosis and bowel ischemia even without hypotension. Potential toxicity. For diagnosis, adults receiving long-term therapy for calcium channel blocker can develop hypotension, bradycardia or cardiac conduction delay if they ingest as little as twice their regular daily dose. As we know, amlodipine 5 mg is the minimum and 10 mg is the maximum daily dose. So if they just took 2 tablets, it's already a toxic dose. The patient receiving long-term CCB may have comorbidities that may include other medications like your antihypertensive, thiazides, atenolol, beta blocker, so many things they take. So combined effect will render patient more sensitive to adverse effects than only a small CCB injection. Children are particularly sensitive. All pediatric CCB injections should be admitted and observed at least. Extended release preparations are late to appear for toxicity. So just because the patient is appearing fine right now, don't discharge him or her. Admit and see for at least 6 to 12 hours after ingestion, and they may be asymptomatic up to 16 hours after ingestion. If the history cannot identify the exact formulation, you should assume is an extended release formulation and modify treatment conservatively. ECG findings include sinus bradycardia, AV block, slowing intraventricular conduction, because DHPR initially have greater effects on smooth muscle dilation and reflex tachycardia is seen, but later on bradycardia may also be seen. Verapamil and diltiazem associated with junctional and ventricular escape rhythm, junctional brady and escape rhythm. Lab testing and imaging are done to assess the overall metabolic state of the patient and to identify systemic complication. Obtain digoxin level if patient was taking digoxin, and determine if beta blockers were also ingested. Hyperglycemia is noted after CCB ingestion, okay, while hypo is noted after beta blocker, क्योंकि बीटा ब्लॉकर टॉक्सिसिटी अगर पेशेंट लेके आया है तो वो हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया होगा और सीसीबी लेके आया तो हाइपरग्लाइसीमिया होगा, क्योंकि सीसीबी इंसुलिन रिलीज को इनिबिट करती है, वाइल बीटा ब्लॉकर्स ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस एंड ग्लाइकोजिनोलाइसिस को इनिबिट करते हैं. CCB inhibit calcium mediated insulin secretion from the beta cell from the pancreas, impeding delaying the use of carbohydrate by the myocardium. They increase insulin resistance by unclear mechanism. Hyperglycemia in a setting of a CCB overdose is considered a poor prognostic indicator. Why? Because this is indicating that the heart is not eating any sugar, even if it is available in blood. Systemic hypoperfusion, while hypo indicates a poor marker in beta blocker toxicity. Systemic hypoperfusion increases lactic acidosis with elevated anion gap and low serum bicarb level. Hypokalemia may be seen. Calcium levels are usually normal, still you have to give calcium. Ionized serum calcium level may be followed during treatment with IV calcium preparation. What are the differential diagnosis? A few conditions and other drug toxicity can produce bradycardia, AV block and hypotension. Hypothermia should be detected during vital sign assessment. Temperature should be detected. Myocardial infarction may be evident on the initial or subsequent ECG. Suspect hyperkalemia in patient with renal failure. So what are the things that cause bradycardia, AV block and hypotension? Your hypothermia, MI, especially your inferior wall MI, hyperkalemia, hypothyroid, digoxin, beta blocker, class 1A A1C toxicity, central alpha 2 agonist clonidine or tetrahydrozoline, and large overdose of sedative hypnotic like benzos and muscle relaxant. सारे मसल रिलैक्सेंट एनेस्थेटिक जितने भी हैं सारे ब्रेडी और हाइपोटेंशन करते हैं ना. तो योर हाइपोथर्मिया, ACS, हाइपरकलीमिया, हाइपोथायरॉयड, डिजॉक्सिन, बीटा ब्लॉकर, CCB, एंटी एरिथमिक्स, योर क्लोनिडीन, अल्फा 2 अगोनिस्ट क्लोनिडीन causes hypotension in brady and reduce sensorium. साथ में benzodiazepines, muscle relaxants, benzos, barbs, muscle relaxant. It may be difficult to distinguish CCB toxicity from the digoxin. Patient may be taking multiple drugs and you don't know what to do. Patient with chronic digoxin poisoning have greater ventricular excitation, including rate and ectopy. Bidirectional VT is seen with digoxin, except SVT. In acute overdose, digoxin toxicity may be distinguished by hyperkalemia. Toxicity from beta blockers may be clinically not able to differentiate from CCB toxicity. Beta blocker, in general, you can say that beta blocker toxicity is not that severe and patients tend to have low to normal glucose and normal to increased potassium levels. A patient with beta blocker toxicity may appear cool and clammy as compared to a CCB toxicity who may be warmer with a flushed skin due to arteriolar dilation. Still the patient will have shock. Fortunately, the treatment for these two poisoning, beta blocker and CCB, is similar. With calcium, your adrenergic agonists like NORAD and VASO, adrenergic ADR, etc., adrenergic agonist, you will use glucagon, insulin and pacing TPI for both. Glucagon, GIK, calcium, adrenergic agonist you will use in all these. So coming to the final thing, treatment. Begin resuscitation. What is the general treatment for CCB overdose? Monitor the CBC, electrolytes and metabolic panel. For general treatment of CCB ingestion, we will monitor the electrolytes, magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, VBG, lactate, glucose, digoxin level, and for all patients with toxic overdose, follow the glucose levels. Naloxone if you suspect opioid toxicity. Single dose activated charcoal if ingestion is within 1 hour. Initiate cardiopulmonary monitoring and obtain ECG. We will send the serum metabolic panel, magnesium level, phosphorus, VBG, lactate, glucose, digoxin level and other drug toxicity levels. Naloxone if signs of opioid toxicity are there. Single dose activated charcoal, and after protecting airway, if ingestion is within 1 hour and no vomiting or altered mental status is there. For children, even if 1 tablet is ingested, you will give charcoal. You will give multi-dose activated charcoal and protect airway for extended release preparations. Fluid देंगे for hypotension, but over aggressive treatment नहीं करेंगे to prevent pulmonary edema. Intubate करेंगे. early intubation if altered mental status or hemodynamic instability. Following airway management, cardiovascular stabilization, fluid specific heart rate. Some patients with heart rate of 30 to 40 beats per minute can maintain adequate BP and perfusion and therefore require only monitoring. And patients with normal heart rate but hypotension require additional treatment to improve ionotropy. Therapies to increase heart rate include medications and cardiac pacing. Atropine alone is rarely effective in CCB-induced bradycardia, but administration is recommended because we don't have any option. Calcium salt may improve both heart rate and BP, so give calcium salt. But the response is variable. Transvenous or transcutaneous pacing is indicated for hypotensive patients with severe bradycardia. Hypotension and severe bradycardia, heart rate less than 30 and may improve heart rate, but it may not correct hypotension because BP is determined by your ejection fraction, cardiac output as well as the peripheral vascular resistance, जो दोनों ही कम हो गए हैं इस केस में. सो सिस्टोलिक भी फॉल करेगा, डायस्टोलिक भी फॉल करेगा. Persistent hypotension after infusion of crystalloids, calcium salt, and then you will start vasopressors, high dose insulin. In critically ill patients, it is helpful to have early consultation with toxicologist and poison control. GI decontamination कैसे करेंगे? Activated charcoal. Given the lethality of CCB and lack of an effective antidote, perform GI decontamination with activated charcoal. It binds well to charcoal and should be given to adults following any potential significant IR or ER exposure. Because life-threatening toxicity has occurred from a single tablet. Give multiple dose activated charcoal after ingestion of a extended release preparation. कोई इपेकाक लवाज और इपेकाक करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. गैस्ट्रिक लवाज इज़ नॉट रिकमेंडेड एंड होल बाउल इरिगेशन विस्पेग. होल बाउल इरिगेशन वेयर मे नॉट बी देयर. कैल्शियम सॉल्ट्स में क्या करना है? कैल्शियम क्लोराइड इज प्रेफर्ड देन कैल्शियम ग्लूकोनेट बिकॉज इट प्रोवाइड्स ट्रिपल द अमाउंट ऑफ कैल्शियम पर वॉल्यूम. यूज़ अ सेंट्रल लाइन फॉर इन्फ्यूजन ऑफ क्लोराइड क्योंकि क्लोराइड आप पेरिफेरल कैच से नहीं दे सकते. द डोज ऑफ कैल्शियम क्लोराइड इज 1 gram over 5 minutes. Calcium gluconate can be given at 3 times its amount. The effects of calcium administration are transient and repeat dosing every 10 to 20 minutes is required. Alternatively, a continuous infusion of calcium chloride 2 to 6 gram may be used in adults. Pediatric doses 10 to 40 mg per kg per hour. Calcium is transient, repeat every 10 to 20 minutes and dose is 2 to 6 gram per hour or 10 to 40 mg per kg per hour. Adrenergic agents we will use like patients who do not respond to calcium administration or who require repeated dosing does acquire adrenergic agonists. Dosing require adrenergic agonists like patients who do not respond to calcium administration or require repeated dosing require adrenergic agonists like epinephrine or norepinephrine titrated to MAP of 65. Dopamine, epinephrine, NORAD, vasodobutamine, isoproterenol may be used. They may benefit from both alpha and beta agonist effect like epinephrine, NORAD, methylene blue or nitric oxide scavenger, and guanylate cyclase inhibitor used for vasoplasia, and phosphodiesterase inhibitor like ambrinolone, milrinone, and enoximone have been reported to improve BP in animal studies. Use high dose or multiple agent to reach the MAP of 65, but there is a risk of end organ ischemia. High dose insulin, glucagon and lipid emulsion may also be used. What is the protocol for high dose insulin therapy? Seek serum glucose, and if less than 200, administer D50. Administer insulin 1 unit per kg bolus, then 1 unit per kg per hour insulin infusion start करना है. Titrate infusion up to 10 units per kg per hour, सेम जैसे बीटा ब्लॉकर में किया था. Monitor glucose every 15 to 20 minutes and once they stabilize monitor hourly. डेक्सट्रोज भी आपको 100 to 200 mg पर DL डेक्सट्रोज आपको चलाना है बहुत फास्ट. मॉनिटर पोटेशियम लेवल, if potassium is less than 2.8, start IV potassium and maintain potassium between 2.8 to 3.2. तो क्रिस्टोलाइड्स देना है, कैसे ट्रीट करेंगे? सबसे पहले फ्लूइड देना है 20 ml पर kg एंड यू मे रिपीट. कैल्शियम देना है IV, कैल्शियम ग्लूकोनेट 30 ml, ग्लूकोनेट का 30 ml और क्लोराइड का 10 ml, मे रिपीट 3 times. ग्लूकागॉन देना है IV 5 mg इफ ब्रेडिकार्डिक, मे ऑल्सो ट्राई एट्रोपिन एंड पेसिंग. ब्रेडिकार्डिया के लिए IV ग्लूकागॉन 5 mg IV, ग्लूकागॉन 5 mg IV, अट्रोपिन एंड पेसिंग. इंसुलिन देना है 1 यूनिट पर kg से स्टार्ट करना है, देन 1 यूनिट पर kg बोलस, देन 1 यूनिट पर kg पर आवर. इंक्रीज इट स्लोली टू 10 ml पर kg पर आवर. कीप पोटेशियम 2.8 to 3.2. स्टार्ट एपिनेफ्रिन और नॉरेड. if इससे काम नहीं चले, स्टार्ट एपिनेफ्रिन और नॉरेड 1 to 5 माइक्रोग्राम पर मिनट. टाइट्रेट टू इफेक्ट. इफ स्टिल नो रिस्पॉन्स यू कैन ट्राई एक्स्ट्रा कॉर्पोरियल ब्लड प्रेशर सपोर्ट ECMO, extra corporeal BP support, LVAD and IABP etc. And last resort is your lipid emulsion, 20% lipid emulsion, 20%, 1.5 ml IV bolus followed by 0.25 ml per kg per minute. 1.5 ml per kg IV bolus, then 0.25 ml per kg per minute infusion. How do you dispose these patients? As a rule, patient who ingest potential toxic amount should at least stay in for 24 hours. Glucagon कैसे देंगे? Glucagon has ability to bypass the beta receptor and simulate cardiac activity via activation of adenylyl cyclase. Glucagon activates adenylyl cyclases and stimulates myocardium. It improves blood pressure and several cases. Initial IV bolus of 5 mg in adults and 0.03 mg per kg in children is given over 1 to 2 minutes. Response is seen within 15 minutes. If there is no response, then you can repeat the bolus. If there is hemodynamic improvement, you can start an infusion of 5 mg per kg per hour in adults. The main side effect of glucagon is vomiting and hyperglycemia. Give Ondem, but Ondem can cause QT prolongation, hypokalemia and hypomagnesemia. Ondem, hypokalemia and hypomagnesemia can cause QT prolongation. Because of the large amount of glucagon required, मतलब ग्लूकागॉन बहुत ज़्यादा चाहिए होता है, इसमें हॉस्पिटल में मिलता ही नहीं है. लिपिड इमल्शन कैन एक्चुअली सीक्वेस्टर द ड्रग एंड ऑल्सो प्रोवाइड फैट सबस्ट्रेट फॉर द हार्ट टू यूज़ लाइक food. It can eat fat and produce contractility. Many commercial lipid emulsions are there like soybean oil, egg yolk and glycerin. 20% lipid emulsion, 1.5 ml per kg bolus over 2 to 3 minutes, then 0.25 ml per kg infusion. An additional bolus may also be given. and you can also increase the infusion to 0.5 ml per kg per minute. Recommended upper limit of infusion is 10 ml per kg over 30 minutes. Then ECMO support and disposition.